ahead of the upcoming Paris Olympics. We are about to take a look behind the scenes at some of the stars of the Irish team.
Former Olympian David Gillick joins us now to talk through his new documentary, The Energy Behind. Good morning, David.
How's you?
We're going to take a quick look at the doc first. Here we go.
This year marks 100 years since the first ever Irish team competed at the Olympic Games. To celebrate the centenary of Team Ireland, this very special series shines a spotlight on those who have encouraged and nurtured our Olympic heroes. And remembering the legacy of Olympic legends from every corner of the country. And we'll meet the unsung heroes who have supported and inspired our brightest Olympic stars, as European 1500 metre champion Ciara Mageean and Rugby Sevens marksman Jordan Conroy share their remarkable stories. These are the people and places that provide the energy behind Team Ireland.
Oh my God, Ciara Mageean there. Good morning, David. Show us the tattoo before we start.
There it is, the Olympic rings.
Are you looking at it down there? Did you get it down there?
We
The
saw it,
Olympic.
we saw
Oh, look at that.
Well, my guns need a bit of work. It's like Tommy's guns there.
We're all fading away.
He's all padding. He's all
Former
padding.
athlete.
He's all padding.
Exactly. But we still have and this is it, former athlete, but you are still so much ingrained in Irish athletics at the minute. You must be buzzing with the excitement of the upcoming Olympics.
Yeah, of course. Like, it's rare that you have two majors in a season. So to come off the Europeans in Rome with 2 goals, 2 silver medals, it's the best we've ever seen. And from my perspective, it's great that the sport is getting the coverage. You know, I think over that duration of 6 days, we were on the front and back pages of all the national papers, you know, every day. And I think that really sells the sport. And even at the national championships there last weekend over in Morton Stadium, like, I've never, ever seen the crowd. You know, it was brilliant.
I don't know if it's got something to do with Italy, because, you know, it's like you were calling it Italia 90 for athletics over there.
It was. And the atmosphere, and again, it's a massive stadium, and, you know, obviously the local Italians were there out in force, but the Irish were there. We made so much noise and the atmosphere was brilliant. And I think what struck me was just how it resonated and grabbed people's attention back home. It was like Italia 90, like.
It was what I loved were your post-race interviews.
Yeah.
I really loved them, because you're getting the athletes when they came straight off the track. They were so unbelievably impressive. I don't know if you can give us your view on it, because you've been around it for so long. They were analysing, but they were so mature and everything. They were phenomenal.
They were, and they sold themselves in the sport really, really well. And the mix zone is a funny place, because you've just come off the track. You're literally less than 60 seconds off, you know, giving it absolutely everything. So your emotions, it's raw. And, you know, then I'm there with the microphone in your face and trying to get a soundbite from them. But I think, you know, it's a very privileged position for me to be in, you know, to talk to an athlete when they come off arguably some of the biggest moments of their whole career, you know. But they were able to analyse it, they were able to articulate how they felt and the raw emotion of it. And, you know, it's a joy just to be there and kind of take all that in, but also for them to tell their own story to everyone back home. And I think that's really important.
It's something, and a credit to you in it, I think, massively, because we speak an awful lot even on this show, and I know I would have been media trained with the rugby, and you become a bit of a bot and a bit of a clone, and you talk about the process, stick to the process.
Yeah.
But actually these athletes came across as such wonderful ambassadors for Ireland. They talked about how much it meant to them and the work. They just were brilliant, and that's why they're a front and back page of the papers. And I think you did a wonderful job in bringing that out. Maybe, do you think the trust, because you've been there, you know what they're going through, and it felt that they were a little bit more able to open up?
I think so. I'd like to think so. I think there's an element of trust. I think I can empathise with them. So, you know, I'm looking at it from, I suppose, the lens of a former athlete. Like, when they cross the line, I'm there. I can see their initial reaction to a performance. So take Rashida, for example. Like, she got a silver medal. A lot of people might be thinking, oh no, it was a silver medal. But I knew, like, a 49.07 is an incredibly fast time and would have won a whole host of Olympic, world and European medals before. So, you know, when she came up to me, it's like, well done, as opposed to hard luck. And I think,
you know as well, at the stage she is in her training, because
absolutely,
this isn't when she's going to peak.
No, it's not. And like, for Rashida, that was only her second 400 of the season. So to come out and do what she did was fantastic. And I think that's the sort of maybe insight that I have from being there. And also like Sarah Lavin, who it didn't go well for. Again, I've been there plenty of times when it just all falls apart. And I think, again, it's just that empathy and they know it's a comfortable space, I suppose.
And Sarah then came back to winning ways just there recently as well, thank God.
Yeah.
But for you, it makes sense you've got this relationship because you've been there before. You know the lads. You're at the meets there aren't cameras everywhere. So you've got a documentary where you're looking at the road to Paris, essentially.
Absolutely, yeah. Like this is great. Flogas are the energy behind Team Ireland. They're partners with the OFI, the Olympic Federation, and this was something that they kind of were keen to do to show the energy behind the athletes. So you saw the little snapshot of Jordan and Ciara there, who are ambassadors for Flogas, and basically the whole idea was like, let's get in and see what goes on behind the team behind the individual, because when you look at, say, athletics, there's one person, but what you don't see is that team of people, from their parents to the local communities to their coaches, the people who have helped kind of, like, I suppose, nurture that talent all the way through to where they are now, going into Paris.
And because, listen, Ciara McGeehan has been around for a long time. She, of course, won bronze, silver and now gold in the European. But a lot of people, she might have just come onto their radar. So it's important to show that they're not overnight successes. You're showing the work that goes behind the scenes. And even, like, somebody like Jerry Kiernan comes up an awful lot when you talk about Ciara McGeehan, who unfortunately he's passed away, but he was the heartbeat of Irish athletics, which he'd be so proud of how they're going at the moment.
Yeah, like Jerry was a character, and he was a pundit for athletics as well, but he would tell you to your face as well on air what he thought, But I think, that's the insight. Like, people might kind of just hop on the bandwagon in terms of going into Paris and athletics in a good place, but an awful lot of work goes on behind the scenes for these individuals, an awful lot. And I think, the insight from this doc kind of shows you that the graft, the resilience, the ups and downs. Now, there's a great shot there of Ciara where, the coach is on the bike beside trying to get her to run at the same pace and what she needs to do. There's a lot of kind of effort goes into these things. And again, that training group, and Jordan as well, from his parents, his local community in Tullamore.
Amazing story.
Those are the insights that it doesn't happen overnight. And I think this is a doc that kind of illustrates that and shows how important the people around that individual.
We were speaking to Ciara after she'd won. We were lucky enough to get to chat to her, and she said one thing about being at these big international meetings, and it's that she knows she can walk into the canteen and she's like, I'll see someone in a green jersey, I'll go over and sit down, and that's the way it happens. And that she had people from other countries saying, that's mad, like, do you all know each other really well? What's the story? And she's just like there might, she's like, we like each other, but we also know we'll have something in common, we'll find something to chat about. And she's like, it's not like that in all other countries. Which is, I know we're always bigging ourselves up, aren't we so special? But that, she did say it is special.
Yeah, and it is special. And I think, credit to, say, the Institute of Sport out in Abbottstown over the last couple of years, because that's pulled everything together. Like, when I went to the UK and trained, I trained in a high performance centre, and within that there was a lot of British athletes, and they all knew each other. It was the same service personnel, from physios to doctors. We didn't have that here in Ireland in probably 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Now we have it. So when Ciara's kind of referencing, you walk in, you see someone from the wider team, so particularly the Olympic team, they know each other. And that's really, really important, because it creates that culture. And that's something that probably we've lacked. Like, when I went to the Olympics, we didn't have that. Like, I didn't know the sailors, I didn't know the boxers, because we were all doing our own thing. We're all in silos. Whereas now, we're all together. And that's hugely important. So when Ciara referenced that, we now have a team, Team Ireland, and it's really important. And you can see that ecosystem. You can see how they're all feeding off each other. When they go training, there's Ciara McGeehan, there's Rhys McClenaghan, there's Daniel Whiffen, all these people who've excelled in their own sport. They're now together in a
That's
team.
amazing.
Brilliant. Yeah. You can see that with the buzz around it as well. Let's talk funding though, because Athletics Ireland, they got €1 million in support from the government. It's a lot less than a lot of other sports. Like, when we see the buzz around the Olympics and the buzz that Rashida and Ciara McGeehan and these athletes are pulling out and can do for the lift for the country, is it enough? Do they need more?
No, they need more, to be frank about it. I think there's still a lot of holes in terms of, the structure around athletics. We still don't have any full-time coaches. We rely heavily on the likes of, as you mentioned, Jerry Kieran. The backbone of Irish sport is volunteers. So there still is a lot of work to be done. And I think this is the year where they can certainly bang on the doors and try and get extra funding in. And when you look at other sports and you see kind of some of the funding that is going elsewhere, and then you look at the reaction to what has happened already this summer in athletics. You go to Morton Stadium, 6,000 people there, from adults all the way down to kids. That's the stuff that resonates. And I think this is the year that I think athletics can really start banging on the door and asking for more. Because, like I said, we need money to go down to the high performance, but we also need it to go down to the grassroots. And every club in the country is inundated with young kids trying to get involved. And we need to kind of maybe have the structure in place and the funding in place to really capitalise on this.
It's just exciting with boxing, with rowing, with athletics, with the sevens. Anyway, it's very, very,
Swimming,
very exciting.
There are a lot. Daniel Whiffen,
Oh,
there's
God,
a
of
lot.
course.
Reece McKenna, as you said, a lot of medal hopes out there. So it's
There
very,
is,
very
and
exciting.
also, if I can just say as well, like the funding is something that's always quite topical. But you know, in fair play to Flogas, there's a new tariff, the Team Ireland tariff, and €10 goes back into the athletes fund with the Olympic Federation, which helps athletes achieve their dreams, and that's what it's all about.
Well,
Amazing.
really looking forward to Paris, guys. It's
Couldn't
so
have said it
exciting.
better.
And you can catch the Energy Behind series. It's on the 18th and the 25th of July here on Virgin Media, hosted by the wonderful David Gillick. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks a lot.
Whet the appetite you did there.